if they're not doing it in many areas of Europe and England. $5 a mile during peak times during traffic. $5 a mile. Google that. You can pull up their own documents. People told me I was a conspiracy theorist 12, 13 years ago when we had federal documents. Now it's being proposed everywhere. Your car becomes a taxi cab. In other news, all over the nation, they're putting in body scanners that 360 scan your body with a naked image of your body in federal databases, so then their biometric cameras can track your walk. That's what these are really for at the airports, not scanning for weapons. That's a dual use. And they only always talk about how a new airport puts it in, but they're going in everywhere. Tulsa passengers try out TSA's full body scanners. Oh, they try it out. Oh, it's a new fun thing. Now, that's some of the news here. Surveillance cams may fight crime, City says. They say every street corner will have cameras in Chicago, Mayor Daley says. So that is coming up as well after this quick break. And we'll see if we get this Lieutenant Colonel on the show. Looking forward to talking to him about what they're doing in Iowa. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
A day unlike any other in the long course of American history, a terrorist act of war against this country.
The enemy struck America on September 11th. But who is the enemy?
Bin Laden.
This is his MO.
We have to look to the Middle East. We have to look to Osama bin Laden.
Fabled Enemies is the first 9/11 film to take a close look at the terrorist ties to intelligence networks inside the United States.
Some U.S. investigators believe that there are Israelis again very much engaged in spying in and on the U.S.
I'm aware that some Israeli citizens have been detained.
Bin Laden's connections to the CIA, the hijackers' ties to the FBI, the Saudi Arabian connection, the Israeli intelligence network, warnings and war games, the shadow government, and much, much more. Fabled Enemies. Get the DVD at Infowars.com or see it in super high quality, along with hundreds of other titles at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
There is growing evidence that Americans would have better health and a lower incidence of cancer and fibrocystic disease of the breast if they consumed more iodine. Nutriodine iodine is formulated to work with your body to help to stimulate proper hormonal balance and can assist in detoxification from fluoride, bromide, and chloride toxins and helps provide protection from radioactive iodine from nuclear fallout. Nutriodine is made with a proprietary high-energy field from pure crystalline iodine. Nutriodine should be used by all ages every day if you suffer from chronic fatigue, low thyroid, and mitochondria function, or if you just want to feel better from day to day. Nutriodine drops are for you. There are several forms of iodine. Nutriodine is the only trusted source. Available now by calling 888-212-8871. That's 888-212-8871. Or order online at NutriMedical.com. That's N-U-T-R-I Medical.com. NutriMedical.com. Your source for the most powerful nutraceuticals and wellness protocols from a doctor you can trust.
The United States is bankrupt and the bankers want you bankrupt also. How would you like to be debt-free in 90 days guaranteed? DebtCrisisSolutions.com has helped tens of thousands out of debt since 1993 and will free you from the debt trap. DebtCrisisSolutions.com legally guarantees to put an end to wage garnishment, bank levies, and liens, and you won't pay one dime to creditors. With Debt Crisis Solutions program, you'll also restore your credit history and be protected from legal action without making one more payment to creditors. DebtCrisisSolutions.com specializes in credit report restoration, preventing wage garnishment and bank levies, liens, and judgments. Doing nothing doesn't make the debt go away. Become debt-free in 90 days, guaranteed. Call Debt Crisis Solutions now for a free consultation at 718-615-0123. That's 718-615-0123. Or visit them online at DebtCrisisSolutions.com. That's DebtCrisisSolutions.com today.
Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Into this house we're born. Into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad.
All right, we are back live, and Lieutenant Colonel Greg Hapgood is our guest, one of the spokesmen for the Iowa National Guard. And Lieutenant Colonel, I really appreciate you coming on such short notice, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
You bet. I saw this article out of the Daily Times Herald in Carroll, Iowa. Have you seen that?
I sure have.
And it's telling us about an urban warfare drill to be held in several towns. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. It's actually a planned training event to provide our soldiers with greater proficiency at what we call cordon and search, which is a mission that, just for a little background, we've deployed nearly 13,000 members of the Iowa National Guard in the global war on terror. And the vast majority of those have been in Iraq and Afghanistan. And one of the missions that they perform in Iraq and Afghanistan on multiple occasions is cordon and search, where basically you are trying to get to an area, cordon it off to make sure everything's safe, and then actually search for caches of weapons or other kinds of contraband which could harm American forces and other
like Fallujah, what we saw in
Correct.
Fallujah. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Exactly. So because of where we're located in Iowa, there are no active duty bases in Iowa, so we kind of have to create our own urban training environments. So the plan on this particular training event was to actually use a small town of about 450 people. The town has actually kind of adopted the unit, which is called Company A, 1st Battalion, 168th Infantry. It really has adopted the unit, considers them their soldiers, and they were more than willing to participate in the exercise.
Okay, sir. Depending on how many questions I can ask, can we have you for another 20 minutes or so?
Whatever you need.
Okay, great. Well, we'll have you to the end of the show then. That's about 24 minutes. Specifically, this is a very well-informed audience, and I know all this training has dual use. You certainly know about PDD 51 and the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, that the National Guard is being federalized now, and that the Pentagon 3 months ago announced that, and that the governors will serve as dual-hatted officers, as federal officers, or if you're not aware of this, you can tell us. But they're also saying that they're going to have 20,000 as part of the brigade's homeland for civil insurrection, for rioting. And I've been to urban warfare drills over the years. In fact, guys, Google Police Day 2000. Let's pull up some of my urban warfare footage I shot myself with the Marines and Army. The Marines are now running DUI checkpoints. Homeland Brigade says they're going to help at car wrecks with the jaws of life. So I mean, I'm just laying out some facts there. Are you aware that there's now a massive domestic role for the regular Army and National Guard in the United States?
Well, I think you have to look historically, is that domestic role really has been filled by the National Guard across the United States for decades. And in Iowa, we're no different. For instance, last summer we had incredibly historic floods. Here in the state, the number one response force from any military is always the National Guard in their home state. And we deployed more than 4,000 people last summer to fight floods in Iowa. That being said, if there are other kinds of response necessary in the state, and typically the responses that we really have to do with are most of the time natural disasters. But in the event of other disasters, let's say some kind of weapons of mass destruction or some other kind of incident, we'd be also called upon to do that. So I do have some visibility on that duty as well.
Colonel, if you are ordered to confiscate citizens' firearms under PDD 25 or PDD 51, are you going to follow that order?
With respect to any kind of duty that we perform in Iowa, it kind of depends on which status it's in about who we take orders from, number one. If it is in a peacetime situation, the vast majority of the time, any kind of request for assistance comes from the governor of the state of Iowa. I can tell you that the order of which you just spoke has never been received by the Iowa National Guard, and I can tell you that you will not find stronger defenders of the Constitution than the men and women of the Iowa National Guard.
Well, I remember back in 2002 seeing local newscasts with the Iowa National Guard, not in drills, but out on the highways, searching cars and then telling the news cameras to turn off. Were you in the Guard then, or were you aware of that?
I've been in the Guard for 23 years, and I've never heard of that.
It was on Iowa news channels.
I've been a member of the Iowa National Guard since 1986. And I've been in public affairs since 1991. I do not recall ever hearing of a situation such
All
as
right.
that.
Well, let's just boil it down to this. I have video of Army and Marines with role players screaming, "I'm an American, please don't put me in the camp," and the military trying to confiscate their firearms. I mean, certainly you've heard the Army Times and the new directive from Secretary of Defense Robert Gates that they will use the National Guard under federal control for civil insurrection. Are you saying you're not aware of that?
No, I'm certainly aware of that, absolutely. But I think you have to look at the role of the National Guard historically. Is that historically we are used in states